Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this entire universe, everything that we see, as a means of benefit to us, and that's what really makes it amazing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Allahu alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal-ard wa anzala min as-sama'i ma'an fa akhraja bihi min ath-thamarati rizqan lakum. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created the heavens and the earth. And He sent down from the heavens rain, فَأَخْرَجَ بِهِ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ رِزْقًا لَكُمْ, producing fruits for you, producing sustenance for you, so that you can survive. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الْفُلْكَ لِتَجْرِيَ فِي الْبَحْرِ بِأَمْرِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, provided for you the seas, and He provided for you ships so that you could sail through these seas. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الْأَنْهَارِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the rivers at your service. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ دَائِبَيْنِ. And Allah placed the sun and the moon in their circuits. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارِ. And Allah put at your service the night and the day. وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that He gave you everything that you need to survive. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. And if you were to try to count one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would not be able to do so. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. And verily man is unjust and ungrateful. And when you really think about it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without us asking for anything, without us doing anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides all of this for us. And a lot of times we take that for granted, right? We take the earth for granted. We take everything that's been provided to us for granted. I remember a scholar once saying, when's the last time you walked outside and you saw some flowers and you said, oh Allah, for me, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed those flowers there for you, right? Because we just take it for granted. Whereas if someone brought you, a cheap bouquet from a grocery store, then you would thank them for that. But you don't thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything that's been provided for you here. There was a man by the name of Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufayl. May Allah be pleased with him. This man who died before the Prophet ﷺ received revelation, but was a man of tawheed, was a man of monotheism. And when he used to see the people slaughtering their animals in the names of other gods, he would say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides you these animals. Allah provides you the rain that produces fodder, that produces the food, and that produces the sustenance for you and your animals, and then you go and you slaughter in the name of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it doesn't make any sense that Allah gives you so much in all of this, that all of this functions in a way that benefits you. Allah mentions constantly how this benefits us. So Allah mentions the creation of the heavens and the earth. Allah mentions the sun and the moon and our knowledge of night and day. لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ. So that we could properly keep time and we could properly benefit from that. Could you imagine if we couldn't figure out when night and day would be, and if we didn't know how old we were, and if we couldn't figure out timings and calculations and so on and so forth? Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ ذَلُولًا فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا وَكُلُوا مِنْ رِزْقِهِ وَإِلَيْهِ النُّشُورِ. That He is the one who made exclusively for you, lakum, this entire earth, ذَلُولًا. ذَلُولًا means to be extremely submissive, that this earth is extremely submissive to you. فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا. Walk its shoulders, in the sense, walk its mountains, its valleys, walk upon its surface. وَكُلُوا مِنْ رِزْقِهِ. And eat from its sustenance. وَإِلَيْهِ النُّشُورِ. But know that one day you will be resurrected in front of Him, and you will be spread out in front of Him the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spread this earth out for your benefit. And there's much to take from this. If you look at the surface of the earth here, Allah is saying He made it special for us. The surface of the earth is easy to tread. Imagine if the surface of the earth was all like mountains, if we all had to live in regions that were rough and difficult to walk on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made it easy for us to tread. But at the same time, He made the surface soft enough to where you could dig into it, and you could plant things, and you could build in it, so you could construct within it, you could build from its materials. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made this, He gave us fertile soil so that we could plant things, so that the earth can benefit us in ways that we can't imagine, in ways that we can't see. But at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made the earth stable enough and firm enough, while also creating gravity, so that we're not just flying all over the place. So subhanAllah, the earth in many ways is a contradiction. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has perfected it in that sense, so that we are able to benefit from it in every way possible, without feeling any sense of ingratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while constantly being reminded of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. And at the end of the day, the earth and the environment, all of this will testify for us or against us on the Day of Judgment. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions this numerous times, right? Things, the earth testifying for us or against us, the animals, the creatures, all of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a right upon us. So when you litter the earth, you are littering one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are not doing justice to it, and it might testify against you on the Day of Judgment as a result of that. And one thing that's very important to take into consideration here as well, that a lot of times we become so comfortable and we fail to recognize the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us with the earth. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us routinely with things that we have become used to. So sometimes rain is good news, sometimes it's bad news, right? And in fact, Hud alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Ahqaf that when Hud alayhi salam addressed his people and warned them, and the clouds formed and the clouds started to come towards them, they said, هَذَا عَارِضٌ مُمْطِرُنَا. This is just a cloud that's bringing us great rain. But instead Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ هُوَ مَسْتَعْجَلْتُمْ بِهِ. Rather this is what you were hasty for. This is the punishment coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that you don't become too comfortable. So in a way that you would forget your purpose and you would forget to express gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you would forget the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes the ideal places of this earth to turn on us at times. So how many times do you see a person sitting on a beautiful beach and you see a video of a tsunami that all of a sudden came from nowhere? And that's really what it is, that every part of this earth, every part of earth that you're on, anywhere that you live, you have to be afraid of something. So, here in the States, if you live in a certain part of the region in the south, then you've got to worry about hurricanes all the time. Then if you live in the west coast, you've got to worry about earthquakes. Then if you go a little bit south or north, you've got to worry about wildfires. Then if you're in the northeast, you've got to worry about the constant blizzards and the snowstorms and things of that sort. The idea here is that every person, every part of this world has its pros and it has its cons. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could cause it to all fall apart in one moment so that we don't become too comfortable. And that's the beauty of the way the Prophet ﷺ reacted to the movements of this world, to the wind. As the Prophet ﷺ was described, that if the wind became a little bit severe, if it started to blow harder, the Prophet ﷺ immediately went to his prayer. If the Prophet ﷺ saw thunder or lightning strike, the Prophet ﷺ made a dua seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or an eclipse, the Prophet ﷺ sought refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not because Rasulullah ﷺ was assigning any superstitions to any of these things, but the Prophet ﷺ was teaching us the proper way to react, to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully in control, and all of this will one day fall apart and we would be returned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.